Welcome back to Dusk and Dreams. I'm your host, Yarrow. But on Friday nights, when the world gets a little wilder and the stories turn epic, you can call me YLDragons. Tonight, Yarrow steps aside and the dragon takes flight. As the stars come out and the darkness wraps around us, we're not just looking at old tales. We're flying straight into the heart of myth. And tonight, our journey leads us to one of the most powerful, mysterious, and original figures in all of Greek mythology, Nyx, the goddess of the night. Ever since I was a kid, getting lost in books and game worlds, I've loved stories of gods and goddesses who are the forces of nature, those who rule the skies, the seas, fire, earth. But Nyx, she's truly one of a kind. She's not just a goddess who rules the night. She is the night itself. She's ancient, strong, full of mystery, and so deeply respected that even Zeus, the mighty king of the gods, ruler of lightning and thunder, is said to have thought twice about crossing her. Nyx's presence is both incredibly powerful and, for those open to it, strangely comforting. So, settle in, light your candle, relax. The night is our canvas, and her story is vast. To begin our journey into her ancient world, we have to ask, who exactly is Nyx? According to Hesiod's Theogony, Nyx is one of the first gods, meaning she wasn't just born from other gods. She was one of the very first beings to appear from the empty space called chaos. Not chaos like noise or confusion, but the primal void, the swirling, silent beginning of all things. While most people know the Olympian gods like Zeus or Athena, Nyx came long before them all, standing alone as one of the original root forces of creation. Before there were gods of thunder, wisdom, or war, there was Nyx, not daughter of anything, not formed by light. She just was, a self-made force, a shadow with wings. She travels across the sky in a chariot or sometimes just appears to cover the world in night. She wasn't just there. Her very being represented the deep, often hidden parts of reality, the unknown, the unseen, the things we don't talk about. In art, she's often depicted with enormous dark wings and trailing a veil of stars. Some stories have her riding a chariot pulled by black horses. Others say she simply arrives. The world dims and silence deepens. But make no mistake, Nyx wasn't feared like a monster. She was honored. Her arrival meant rest, reflection, dreams, secrets. She wasn't flashy, she wasn't loud, and she didn't need to be. Her presence was power, and if you've ever stood outside on a quiet night, no phone, no noise, just that still stretch of sky, you've felt her. She is both the bringer of night and a universal mother, giving birth to a line of powerful, sometimes scary, but always important children. One of the most jaw-dropping aspects of Nyx is that she didn't need a consort. She birthed entire realms alone. Her children are a map of the human condition, each embodying something essential, inevitable, and often paradoxical about life. These aren't just minor characters. Among her children were some of the most interesting and important figures in all of mythology. Let's start with Hypnos, the god of sleep. He's not just a lullaby in divine form. Hypnos represents the gentle surrender we make every night, the vulnerability of closing our eyes and drifting into the unknown. His presence is soft, comforting, necessary. Then there's his twin brother, Thanatos, the god of peaceful death. Unlike the more violent images of death in other myths, Thanatos is often seen as merciful, inevitable, and calm, a closing curtain rather than a crashing door. Next, Nemesis, the goddess of divine justice and retribution. She ensures that arrogance is met with consequence. She isn't cruel, she's balance, a cosmic correction that reminds us no one is above the rhythms of cause and effect. Then we meet the Moirai, or the Fates. These three ancient weavers spin, measure, and cut the threads of every life. Even the gods aren't beyond their reach. They represent destiny at its most impersonal, yet oddly intimate. Their threads are everywhere, in every chance encounter, every fork in the road. But Nyx's children aren't just grand forces, they're deeply personal. Take Philotes, the spirit of affection and friendship, subtle, often overlooked, yet completely essential to the human experience. Or Apate, deception, not always malicious, but ever present, reminding us how often truth wears a mask. She also birthed Ares, the goddess of strife, not as a villain, but as a reminder that conflict shapes growth. Jairus, the god of old age, who teaches us that time cannot be bargained with. And Moros, who represents doom, not in a cartoonish way, but as the weight of inevitability we sometimes feel pressing in on us. Finally, the Oniroi, spirits of dreams who rise each night, black-winged, bearing the images, stories, and symbols that speak to us while we sleep. They bring us visions from our subconscious, weaving meaning and mystery into the dark. These children of Nyx show us the full spectrum of night, not just its fears, but its tenderness. They are the mirror held up to our lives where rest meets reflection and darkness births insight. These weren't throwaway deities. They shaped destinies, whispered truth in sleep, and taught that not all endings are violent. Some are gentle. Some are necessary. Nyx gave us the gray areas, those things that live between light and dark. She is the tension and tenderness of night. These beings often stand for things we can't fully control: sleep, death, fairness, and destiny. Nyx, as their mother, is the very picture of life's natural, unavoidable cycles, from quiet peace to wild chaos. What's especially cool, and something that fits perfectly with our podcast, is that Nyx's children show the two sides of night itself. There's deep beauty and refreshing rest, but also mystery, darkness, and a natural, sometimes scary feeling. But through it all, she keeps a cosmic balance, making sure the world keeps turning, even when we don't realize the massive forces at work behind the scenes. Even in a world absolutely packed with powerful gods and goddesses, Nyx was truly one of a kind. According to old stories, even Zeus, the king of Olympus, the thunder thrower, ruler of skies, the wielder of thunderbolts, knew not to mess with Nyx. Talk about empowering women. You don't often hear of Zeus backing down from anyone. There's a powerful myth that reveals just how deep her authority went. In this tale, Hera, ever the schemer, wanted to sabotage one of Zeus's plans. She enlisted the help of Hypnos, Nyx's son, and the god of sleep, to lull Zeus into slumber. Hypnos succeeded, and Zeus slept through Hera's machinations. But when Zeus awoke and realized he had been tricked, he erupted with fury. His rage scorched the heavens. Lightning cracked across Olympus as he hunted down Hypnos for what he saw as a humiliating betrayal. Desperate and terrified, Hypnos didn't fight. He fled, not to a cave, not to the sea. He ran to Nyx. And Zeus, king of the gods, unstoppable force, master of Olympus, stopped. Faced with Nyx, he put away his thunder. He backed down, not out of weakness, but out of wisdom, because Nyx wasn't a force to defeat. She was a truth to respect. Zeus represents order, hierarchy, law, and control, the bright and thunderous might of civilization. Nyx is inevitability, mystery, and the quiet rules that predate rules. She doesn't fight. She doesn't argue. She simply is. You can resist sleep, delay darkness, burn candles through the night and try to stay in control. But eventually the light gives way. The mind slows, the stars rise, the night always comes, and Nyx doesn't shout. She arrives, and when she does, she's like the ultimate final boss you simply don't challenge. Instead, you accept. And when you do, she embraces you, and everything else, power, noise, pride, falls silent, and you finally, truly rest. So, what does Nyx's ancient story mean for us today in our own lives? The night, for many, still feels like a symbol of mystery, the unknown, and yes, sometimes fear. But in a world that celebrates the constant glow of productivity, the 24/7 cycle of online content and social comparison, the pursuit of certainty, Nyx offers something different, something deeply needed. She invites pause, turning away from the glare, listening to the hush, and not being afraid of the thunder and lightning. For me, the story of Nyx reveals that darkness isn't something to conquer. It's not the enemy of light, but its partner. Just as day gives us clarity and action, night gives us space and reflection. We need both. One without the other is imbalance. Nyx reminds us that real rest isn't laziness. It's sacred. That sleep is not a shutdown, but a powerful recalibration. That dreaming isn't some flight of fancy, but a form of creation. That stillness isn't emptiness, but a space where transformation quietly brews. So, I offer a shift. What if we stopped fearing the unknown? What if we trusted the dark? Not because we had all the answers, but because we were willing to sit with the questions. Nyx says, you don't have to light every shadow. Some things reveal themselves only when we let go of the spotlight. I agree. Do you? Perhaps the next time you find yourself lying awake, lost in racing thoughts or worries, or maybe even a sudden flash of creative ideas at night, you can remember Nyx and the vast two-sided nature she represents. Fear and comfort, mystery and peace, powerful creation from nothing. And maybe, just maybe, with her ancient presence in mind, the night will feel a little less scary, a little more welcoming, and a whole lot more magical. Thank you for joining me tonight on Dusk and Dreams, as we journeyed through the history of Nyx, the goddess of the night, I hope her story gives you a new way to look at the powerful side of darkness and the deep beauty that can be found when the world goes quiet. If Nyx's story connected with you, sparked a new idea, or simply lit a fire in your imagination, I'd love to hear about it. Feel free to share your thoughts or your own favorite dark myths with me. Together, we can keep exploring the hidden mysteries and epic stories of the night. Next Friday, we'll return to the mythic side of dusk and dreams with YLDragons to explore the Oniroi, the black-winged bringers of dreams, said to rise each night from the Palace of Sleep and deliver visions to gods and mortals alike. Who are they? Where do they come from? And what do their dreamlike visitations reveal about how we process meaning in the silence of night? That's the story waiting just over the next horizon. But before that, don't miss Tuesday's episode, where we'll step back into the grounded and reflective side of the night, talking about neuroscience, rest, and what your dreams say about you. So, whether you're drawn to myth or mindfulness, sleep or story, there's magic to be found in both. It's been a privilege to guide you through another night on Dusk and Dreams. If this podcast helps you find peace, spark creativity, or simply offers a moment of captivating escape, please consider following or subscribing wherever you listen. Your support helps us build this community of night-minded souls. We're available on all major podcast platforms, including Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and iHeartRadio, as well as many others. To learn more about the show or connect with me, Yarrow, visit www.breakgrid.com or follow at Yarrow Diamond on Instagram. Until next time, keep the candles lit, the dreams big, and the fears small. This is Dusk and Dreams, and the night listens back.